So today you just need a little bit of space and a wall, which will be easier for you, Amanda, because you are stuck at home. Okay, so up against a wall. We've done these before. This is probably like one of my favorite mobility drills. Feet wide, a little wider than shoulder width apart. Right hand reaches down when you squat, and then right arm reaches up and over the head to the wall when you come up and over the head. So squat forward reach, arch overhead reach. Go through 6 of those. Squat forward reach, arch overhead reach. So we're gonna do 6 with one arm, 6 with the other. So the idea here is just warming up the hips, stretching out the lower abs. We always start in this sagittal position. Whenever you're done with those 6, easy transition, just switch arms. Left hand goes forward, forward reach, overhead reach. And I take eyes with the fingertips. So when I touch down, eyes are there. When I reach overhead, eyes are there. It just gives you a little bit of warm up to just some eye drills that we're gonna do. These should feel good. Mobility for the back. All right, 6 of those guys. And then we're gonna do some fast foot stuff. So you're gonna go super, super wide stance for the feet. Shift all the weight down to one side. And you're just picking up that foot. Let's see if I can scoot back so you can see me. You're just gonna pick up that foot, step it forward, pick up that foot, and move it back. So go 10 of each of those. It's 20 total. And think about picking up a flat foot and setting down a flat foot. So the idea there is that if I'm rolling up off my toe, it's just calf work. If I'm picking up a flat foot, it's much more hip work. So 20 of those total, 10 forward, 10 back. When you're done there, easy transition, just go to the other side. Bend that right knee, or whatever leg you haven't already done, forward to back, just picking up that flat foot. And think about, is it make a noise when it lands? That'll be kind of an indication that you're doing this flat footwork versus this rolling up off the toe. We don't want the calf to work here. We want it to be all that effort in the hip. So 10 of those forward to back. Then you're gonna go into balancing on one leg, eyes closed. You can watch now. But once you get this movement down, toe forward, toe back. You're going through 10 of those each. You can start with the eyes open just to kind of like get used to that balance. And then see if you can close the eyes. And it kind of helps to have me talking or to have like, if there's some kind of noise in your room, you can use that as like, okay, that's at 2 o'clock. Keep that at 2 o'clock. Go through 10 of those on each side. I told you you're gonna do some eye drills. Same thing on the other leg whenever you're ready. It should just be slow and controlled. Don't worry about moving fast. Notice that if the toe goes forward, you're leaning back. And you'll go through the same 10 on the other side. I don't have Jason here to indicate whether or not I'm going too fast or too slow. All right, same thing on the other side. Eyes closed, tap the toe forward, tap the toe back. Go through a couple of those and then go back to eyes closed. And see if you can just pay attention to where the weight is in that balancing foot. Pay attention to how the body wants to lean. Do you tend to want to lean right or left? Just trust that rooted foot. With the eyes closed, you should feel like that foot is like actively trying to hold on to the ground just a little bit more. All right, once you're done with those 10, we'll go back through that again. So starting with these squats, with the reach, this time the wall is gonna be to your side. So the arm that is furthest from the wall is gonna reach down, touch, reach overhead for the wall. Squat, touch, reach overhead. If you can scoot a little further away from the wall, go for it. It'll give you a bigger reach when you're going into that stretch for the oblique, for the spine, for the ribs. It should like just opens up space. So that bicep comes to the ear. It's like almost like that bicep leads that movement into that lean and return. So make sure you're not reaching across the body. We're gonna do that rotation last. So for the second round, we're doing this frontal plane reach, 10 of these. And then when you're done there, go to the other side. We did 6 on the other side. So if you want to, or 6 when we did the last one. So if you want to do 6, go for that. This is one of those, if it feels great, go for it. Do a couple more. If it's getting old, you can cut out early. By 6, you usually feel like you're about as far into that movement as you're gonna get. 6 to 10. Again, not rotating, not leaning forward, just keeping that true side reach. And then we'll go back to those quick foot pickups. So once you're done with that second round, now we're gonna go back to this super wide stance. Bend one knee so you're shifting all the way down towards that side. Last time we went forward to back. Now we're gonna go side to side. So flat foot out, flat foot back in. 10 of those, out and back in. So you're really picking up the foot 20 times. This leg is staying straight. It's really just serving as a dead leg. This leg is my mover. 10 out and back in. And then switch sides, easy transition. Just straighten out this leg, bend this leg. Same idea. Check that this toe isn't going out. We tend to want to just collapse that leg out. That's just an indication that that hip adductor isn't firing as strong as it can. Again, flat foot. So it's a weird feeling because it's like, well, I could make this a much better movement if I could just roll up off the toe, but we're trying to make the hip do all the work. 10 out and in, and then we're going back to balance. So back to your balance drill. Balance on the left leg. Eyes are gonna be closed. You can keep them open for now so you can watch this, but your toe is gonna go out to the side, and then it's gonna cross in front. Out to the side, cross in front. So you do a couple of those with the eyes open, and then try to close the eyes and create that exact same movement. Doesn't you feel a little easier than that forward to back? Because you're really able to, like, by having the legs cross, they can connect. So it's almost like this leg gets to like go back and touch the base. 10 each way. There's still a little bit of lean in the upper half of my body, so I'm leaning away from where that toe's going. And then same thing on the other side whenever you're ready. Doesn't have to be fast. The idea is just to like trust the foot. Maybe one side feels easier than the other. That's pretty common. There's a lot of thunder. Hopefully the power doesn't go out because I'm in a very dark room. Think about where the weight is in the foot. So ideally it is flat. There is not weight on the more on the outside, more on the inside, more on the heel, more on the toe. It's just that flat, strong foot. All right, 10 of those. And then we're gonna go back through that one more time. So for the squat rotations at the wall, you're gonna go back to having the wall behind you. Let's start with the right hand just to be on the same page. Right hand goes down and reaches for the wall. So I'm twisting to the left. And then I'm coming up and out of that, twisting, opening up the chest, reaching with the fingertips. So right arm is my driver, reach down, open up, reach out wide. Squat, reach down, open up, reach out wide. Go through 10 of those. And if this makes you feel dizzy, sometimes I get dizzy if my eyes just follow the fingertips, you can just look forward. Eyes look forward, eyes look forward. So that also allows there to be a bigger stretch through the neck when that arm reaches around wide. Go through 10 of those, they should feel good. If you can get further away from the wall and make that a bigger reach, go for it. And you'll do the exact same thing on the other side once you've done 10. Same idea, left hand now, rotate down, reach down, rotate up, reach way around. So we're trying to get that chest to open up. If it helps to keep the eyes forward, keep the eyes forward. Mobility is all about doing what feels good. It pushes you a little bit, stretches you out, but none of it should feel uncomfortable. It should really hurt. It can challenge you, but not be painful. Eyes are forward, open up the chest. And we'll go through those foot pickups next. So back to this wide stance. You want to come do it with me? Bend one knee. And now we're taking the toes in and then the toes out. So it just looks like this really bad dance move. So notice my pelvis is staying still. a moving pelvis would be like if it were twisting with that foot. Hips stay even, toe goes in, toe goes out. 10 each way, 20 total. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Can you ask me? Same thing, other side. So now I'm going to bend the left knee, keep the right leg straight. Toe goes in, toe goes out. 10 each way. Again, that flat foot. Teach your foot to just check out. Tell the calf that the hips got it. It's a hard thing to do because the calf is really capable and it's so used to rolling the foot up off the ground. 10 of these. Should feel like a good stretch. All right, and then same idea with how we're going to end this with eyes closed. Bend the knee. You're going to do rotation, touch forward, rotation, touch back. So do a couple of those with the eyes open just so you generally get that movement down. And then close the eyes and see if you can go through these. This should by far be the most challenging. Ooh, that rotation back is hard. It's funny, how is it so helpful to keep your eyes open? But it is. Think about the breathing. Think about, again, where the weight is in that foot. Supposed to be that we just turn off that sense so that now you're more focused on how the foot feels. You're now more aware where the noises are around you. You're less reliant on just those visual cues. Same thing on the other side. Whoo, that one was wonky. Same thing, think about rooting that foot into the ground. That's your base. Go through a couple of those on each side, just those rotations. Trying to get movement in that hip. And then close the eyes if you feel like you can do it. If you feel like you're just like wobbling, can't do anything, go back to eyes open. First priority is doing the movement. Second is trying to get it down with eyes closed. So one side might feel easier, might feel harder. Check that you're not doing anything weird with the hands. Sometimes our hands tense up and we do weird things. Just relax the arms. I do it as well. All right. So new sequence. That's the good news. So still working on hip mobility. If the wall is there to your side and you can hold on to it, go for it. We're going to do outside leg is what's rooted down. Inside leg is what is swinging. So you're going to do swing up, little pulse, back down. Swing up, little pulse, back down. Go through 10 of those. Just those little forward raise lifts. 10 total. So what we're trying to do is get the hip flexor to lift using the momentum. But then when you add that little pulse, it like doesn't have that initial momentum that you had. So the hip flexor is just left there to do all that work. 10 of those, and then do the same thing to the back. So go back, little pulse, back down. And it should almost feel like this is a super fresh movement. Same tired leg, but now we told the front of the leg to just check out and told the back of the leg to do all the work. So it should feel like it's hamstring and glute firing. 10 total. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, and switch sides whenever you're ready, 10-ish on each side. Turn, it's gonna be that inside leg that you're moving. So outside leg is your base, inside leg does that little lift, pulse, back down. Go through 10 of those. I have a little bend in the knee. There's no reason to like block it out. I just won't get as much mobility. If I can put a little bend in that knee, it's a little more forgiving on the hip. 10. And you'll end up doing 10 of the same to the back. Same idea whenever you're ready. Make sure the upper half of the body isn't leaning forward to get that leg back. Upper half of the body has to stay still. It would be better for that leg to have very little movement and to be true to keeping it in that left leg. 10 total. And then, all right, and then using the wall. We haven't done this before, but you're gonna have the wall, the hands on the wall. So hopefully you have some space. And we're gonna go one arm reaches up and like you're trying to bring the forehead and that armpit to the wall and then come back to neutral. And do the same thing with the other side. So go through 10 total, 5 on each side. It should feel like this big stretch for the under of the arm, the lat, the shoulder. 5 on each, alternating, 10 total. We're trying to add in some shoulder stuff today. All right, on that last one, hold one arm straight up. Take the free arm and just reach it through, reach it back. Reach it through, reach it back. So go through 5 of those. This arm is just up high and planted. This free arm is reaching through that hole and then reaching back. 5 on one side and then switch. Put that fresh arm up there. Sink into that stretch so you should feel it in the lat. And then take that free arm, reach it through, reach it back. 5 of these. Should feel good on the shoulder, on the lat, on the chest, all of everything surrounding that arm. All right, 5 of those. And then we'll go back to the leg lifts. So this time the leg away from the wall is going to be your mover. A little bend in that knee, and you're doing a little lift up to the side, pulse, back down. So you could get it higher if you took the toe up, but we're trying to keep the toes pointing forward. So little pulse, return, little pulse, return. If you have your hand available and you just like basically dig it into the side of that hip, you'll feel that muscle will just fire really quick. It'll get really tight and then recover. 10 on one side, 10 on the other. Should feel like it's very isolated. Like there is one little junction responsible for that lift. 10. And then keep that leg out there and just do knee in, stomp wide. Knee in, stomp wide. So we're just further driving home the point that we want that outside hip to fire. 10, slow, controlled. Check they're not leaning up against the wall. That wall's just there for a little bit of extra balance. And then we'll go through the same 2 things on the other side. So fresh leg. It should also feel like that balancing leg is doing a decent amount of work too. So fresh leg, side raise, little pulse, back down. And it might feel harder on this side because this leg is already tired from having just balanced on the other side while you're wiggling that other leg. So 10 little lifts with a pulse. Again, check they're not really leaning into the wall. And you'll finish with those 10 knee-in extensions. So it's just knee in, extend. So from the side, it just looks like this. Knee in, extend. Taking the leg out. Trying to keep shoulders even, hips even. So I'm not leaning away from that leg so I can get it higher. It's fine to sacrifice the height of that kick. And you should feel this in that balancing leg as well. 10 of these guys. And then we'll go back to the wall for some shoulder mobility. So back to the wall, hands are planted. You're gonna go right arm out wide, like you're trying to bring your ear to the wall and take that shoulder to the wall, and then back to neutral. Left arm goes out wide, look in the opposite direction of where you're sending that straight arm. 5 on each side. And I'm like dropping the chest way into the wall, back up. Into the wall, so you can get the like ear to the wall. 5, each side, 10 total. Should feel good-ish. All right, on that last one, keep that right arm stretched out. And you're just gonna kind of walk the fingers up higher. So say that right arm's reached out and that's pointing at like 3 o'clock. Try to walk the fingertips up to like 2 o'clock and back down. Do that 3 times. Walk the fingertips up to 2 o'clock and walk the fingertips back down. Go through 3 of those. It should feel like a really big stretch at the very top of that. After those 3, come out of that and then just repeat it on the other side. So now I have a fresh arm going out. I'm just holding that lean into the wall. Crawl the fingers up. Crawl the fingers back down. 3. This looks kind of goofy, but it's really good for the shoulder. We should definitely take more care of our shoulders, even as runners. All right, and then we'll go back to hip mobility using the wall again. Last time, so we'll start with an easy one. Start with the outside knee bent, and imagine you're just trying to draw the knee across center line, both directions. So we call these like figure 8s. So from the front, you just look like this, knee in, knee out, knee in, knee out. 10 of those each way. I shouldn't feel too hard. It's just like putting a little movement into the hip. And then you're gonna keep that turned out knee. And imagine you're driving the knee up. When you come down, let the heel go in front of this knee. Then take the knee up, let the heel go behind the knee. So 10 of each, 20 total. We got a lot of those. We're just trying to strengthen that hip's ability to lift your leg, even when the leg is like super turned out. And if you're like me, you can like hear the like tendons going over the joints. Like, oh, it doesn't hurt. It's just an awkward noise. I think we're forever stuck with that. All right, 10 each way. And then same kind of thing on the other side. So fresh leg, 10 circles, drive the knee in, drive the knee out. Knee in, knee out. These should feel good. This is just like a comfortable, fluid move. This is one of those like before race, I would do straight leg swings, I do crossover leg swings, and I do these just to like get the hips ready for whatever movement I'm about to put them through. And then those same lifts, so knee lift, heel goes behind, knee lift, heel goes in front. Up, up. 20 total, 10 each way. It should feel like this gets hard at the end. It's doable for 20, but maybe you don't want to do a whole lot more than 20. All right, and then last shoulder mobility drill. Now standing with the wall to your side. So we're just gonna kind of like recreate that squat overhead reach. So scooch away from the wall and just hold that stretch. So my fingertips are on the wall. I have this free arm down here. So I'm gonna rotate, reach it as far forward as I can. I'm opening my chest up to the ceiling and then reach that arm back out behind me. So that arm's going all the way through, my chest comes up to the ceiling, reach back through, arm comes back. Last shoulder drill, 5 of these each way. This one looks more complicated than it is. Basically just move how it feels good. We always do rotation last, so that's why we're doing this one for the 3rd round. Same thing on that other side whenever you're ready. Should feel good. So squat down, recreate that reach overhead and just hold there. Now take that arm forward, open up the chest, eyes go up. Take that inside arm back, reach back around. Go through 5 of those. It's basically a 2 plane of motion move. We're holding the body at a frontal plane and then we're asking it to add this rotation. So it should feel not super easy. All right, and then last 2 things. We're gonna stretch out the ankle and we're gonna stretch out the hip flexor. So done this before. This is probably one of my favorite stretches. So bounce on the left foot, plant that right toe down, and bend the knee and try to put, if you don't have shoes on, it's better. It's not as good with shoes on. Try to get the top of the foot down on the ground or the laces. And then flip that foot over, plant the heel down, and bend that back knee as much as you can. So I'm getting this huge Achilles and lower calf stretch. Go through 5 of those. Flip the foot over, stretch at the top of the foot, plant the heel down, bend the knee. Stretch at the top of the foot, stretch out the calf. This should feel really good. The ankle has a lot of movement, but we don't spend a whole lot of time holding it in any one direction, especially not with that foot pointed. 5 of those, and then switch sides. easy enough. If you were doing the same side I was, now you're balancing on your right, your left toe is down, and you're trying to get the top of those laces down to the ground. So I'm trying to work on stretching the left foot, and then I'm planting the heel, stretching out the lower calf and the Achilles. If you've ever rolled your ankle, one ankle will either feel tighter or this will feel better because it's tighter. Our body's amazing and able to do a lot of cool things, but somehow rolling ankles, we haven't quite figured out how to completely recover from that. But we'll follow you to the grave in some ways. You can get better. All right, and then we'll go through a hip flexor. So let's go left foot in front, right leg back. So the goal is we're trying to stretch out all of this, basically everything from that like mid quad to like mid rib cage. So bend that front knee and lean back. So you should now feel this big stretch right here. Go through 5 of those. We're gonna do 2 different stretches for this, and we'll do 2 on the other side and then you're done. So 5 of these. And on that last one, stay here with a vertical spine, bend both knees, and take that right arm up and over the head, or whatever arm you have behind you, that's the arm you want to take over the head. See if you can go a little bit lower and lean back a little bit more, and then come up and out of it, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Last thing you're doing. So if you were on the same side I was on, now you have right leg in front and left leg back. So I'm starting with bending this back knee, tucking the tailbone under, and just leaning back. It shouldn't look pretty. It looks like you're like awkward and you should probably be holding on to something. But you should feel this stretch. Go into that 3 times. Bend the knee, lean back, stretch. Slowly come out of it. And then on that last one, stay upright, stay vertical. Take that left arm, because my left leg is back, up and over the head. Bend the knees, lean overhead. And then last thing, try to sink a little bit deeper and lean back a little further. It's like about as deep of a stretch as you can get there. All right, that's it for mobility. For strength, we're switching it up a little bit. We're trying to make it more personalized and more tailored for you guys, because everybody has different equipment and everybody has different weaknesses and things they need to be working on. So email me and we'll set up a 30-minute appointment. It will be just like this, a video. You can show me what equipment you have, and we'll talk about what weaknesses you have and what you need to work on. And we can keep regularly doing that until you get a really good, solid routine down, given the equipment you have. Cool? So I'm super excited about getting to have one-on-one time with everybody. All right, but that's it for now. Thanks for joining, Amanda. Hope you guys are all out there safe.
Have a good night.
Good night.